Instructor, along with Sue Dierks, who is a Head Start Director. And we are here to talk with you a little bit about the new performance standards with parenting. I train all over the United States, and I have had lots of questions and contacted the Love and Guidance office, Conscious Discipline, and said, how can we help these folks out? So I called my friend Sue Dierks, who's been in Head Start for 20 years, and I said, Sue, there is so many questions, and especially, Sue, I got a lot of questions in November. What big thing happened in November in Head Start?
The big event in November was the release of the revised Head Start program performance standards, which Head Start programs have been waiting for since 2007. So this was a big event.
Wow, it was a big event. Okay, so they got the new performance standards. Here's what I kept hearing. I got 4 different emails in the middle of November from directors, and they all said the same thing. Oh my gosh, Jill, we're not on the list. Conscious Discipline isn't on the list. We can't pick you for a parenting program. So I called Conscious Discipline and I said, hey, do you guys know what's going on? And then I decided I'm calling you back, Sue. So what is the whole thing about the list?
We were one of those same programs, Jill, that was wondering what our next step needed to be. So I did some research and did some contact, reached out to some of my contacts in the Office of the Head Start field. And what I found was, as a result of the revised Head Start program performance standards, including parenting curriculum as a requirement for programs, there were a lot of questions. So in the Head Start field, it's typically given to a program to design what works for their program. Now, of course, you want that to be in compliance with the Office of Head Start. So as far as the parenting curriculum goes, that was a new piece for many programs. So in the process of releasing the Head Start program performance standards, the Office of Head Start had some helpful webinars. There was a series of webinars, and actually those are still ongoing. In one of those webinars, the parenting curriculum was addressed. And in addressing the parenting curriculum, they also mentioned a parenting compendium that is available as a resource on the ECLIC website, which is the resource website for Head Start programs. So the parenting compendium was new to me. I was not aware it was a resource. And in looking at the parenting compendium, I found that Conscious Discipline was not listed on the parenting compendium. So that led to further research. I contacted the program specialist for our program at our regional office and was told that we did not have to select a curriculum from the compendium. As long as our chosen curriculum met the criteria outlined in the program performance standards, our program would be in the Head Start world safe in choosing Conscious Discipline as a parenting curriculum, which we'd been implementing for several years. So this was good news for us.
So what are the things that are outlined in the rules about the parenting curriculum that you have to choose that you feel like Conscious Discipline meets?
The section that outlines this is in Subpart E, the Family and Community Engagement Program Services, and it's section 1302-51B. And it is very specific in what a parenting curriculum needs to include. And what is in the criteria is that it needs to be a research-based curriculum. It needs to build on parents' knowledge. And it needs to offer parents the opportunity to practice parenting skills to promote children's learning and development, and meets the needs of one or more specific populations.
Perfect. And so certainly, obviously, you felt like we're research-based. Conscious Discipline is research-based, so that's the biggest piece. Absolutely. But certainly we actively engage. And the good news is Conscious Discipline has created, just for, honestly, we put together a parenting resource that will be released this spring that's really going to even more. I mean, you were obviously just going to use the resources that Conscious Discipline has currently had, but they are actually together a book that you're going to be able to use as a resource that will have family activities, because I know that you do family events,
Yes.
and at those family events, those are our parenting events, and sometimes those are tough. When I go out to Head Starts, they're having a really hard time, A, getting people to come, and B, getting having activities that are, activities that folks can use. But you also have family advocates, and they're the ones that will be implementing this new curriculum. Some people call them community family advocates, CFAs. Some people everybody calls them a little bit something different. But the bottom line is they're the folks that go in and set the family goals and do those kinds of things. And so this new curriculum that Loving Guidance is putting together, that Conscious Discipline is putting together, hopefully will help in that way. So walk me through kind of what are some of the steps that you see where Conscious Discipline will fit so beautifully into that family engagement piece that your family advocates use already.
Yes. Well, I'm going to take that a little bit further and share that at Western Egyptian Head Start, we actually incorporate conscious discipline throughout our program service areas, which is no different than would work for any Head Start program throughout the country. So what we do at Western Egyptian Head Start is we have tiered when conscious discipline is shared with parents. So I'll take you through the steps of how we do it at Western Egyptian Head Start. So at enrollment, the conversation begins with the parents about conscious discipline. So in the Head Start world, we have tons of paperwork so that we do not lack for paperwork. So in the course of completing the paperwork during enrollment, parents and the family engagement staff person, as you said, we call them family advocates, have the conversation about what the family's needs are, what the child's needs are, what the parent's concerns are. And typically there is a concern that the parent will share, and that's when the family advocate is so skilled, has their elevator speech ready for conscious discipline, and shares that, let's take an example of a parent said that when their child is upset, they just stomp to their room and shut the door. The family advocate had her elevator speech ready and knew this was the opportunity and said, oh, so when your child experiences upset, they stomp to their room, close their door, and calm their body. They use their room as the safe place. The parent, of course, hadn't considered it that way before. The family advocate reframed with positive intent. She described so the parent would know what noticing was, and she modeled reframing that to positive intent. So the parent walked away with, my child does have some skills. Then the family advocate was able to say then, at school, we use conscious discipline, and you're going to hear more about that. At school, they have a safe place. They will teach your child how to breathe to calm their body. And it's just a beautiful way to hook the parents in a positive way of, I do have some skills. My child has some skills. I've got this. And here is a group that's going to work with me and my child.
Oh, I love that. So it really works out that they work together. They work with the parent information, because I know that's a big part of Head Start is you really want to start where the parent is, not come in with already decided goals and already thinking that so really you individualize. One parent might talk to you about their child stomping to their room. Another parent might talk to you about a child not willing to eat at the dinner table, or another child, that they have problems in public. And so your family advocate will then use conscious discipline to kind of, I guess, individualize the goal specifically to that parent. And so they'll use lots of different pieces of conscious discipline, which super is great because we're going to have lots of different examples in this new curriculum that we're putting out. So that's going to work out really well. So as far as the deadline, some folks I know are choosing their parent curriculum now. Some of them are choosing them later. So how does all that work? And how do you have to do any extra paperwork because we're not on the compendium?
Yes, no, there is not any extra paperwork. As with our classroom curriculum. We just need to be able to prove that whatever we choose does meet the criteria outlined in the program performance standards. And I'm glad you asked me that question, because in the quest of clarification regarding the parent curriculum, we also found that from the Office of Head Start, they've shared with us that the parenting compendium is a static document, and it was intended to be a resource for programs. And since the performance standards have been published in September of last year, programs are now on a new search for a parenting curriculum. And so the compendium has been a resource that's been on the ECLIC website. And therefore, the compendium has been, I know in our situation, what we first reached out for. Now, when we saw that conscious discipline wasn't on the compendium, that's when our research started for clarification that we could use a parenting curriculum that wasn't listed on the compendium. And the answer that we received was yes, as long as we prove that it meets the criteria outlined in the program performance standards, we could select a parenting curriculum that was not on the compendium. So for Western Egyptian, it was an easy choice. We've already been implementing conscious discipline as our parenting curriculum and as our social emotional support curriculum in the classroom. So we just kept going with what we were already implementing. And we've had such success implementing conscious discipline that we haven't had a single behavior referral since 2008.
Holy smokes. Wow. That's pretty impressive. Amazing. And that's because, but you've also been doing conscious discipline in your classroom for how long, Sue?
Since 2007.
Right. So you've been going at this for almost 10 years,
yes.
Really.
And it hasn't been isolated to the classroom. We've included the family engagement staff with the implementation of conscious discipline. So since we've been implementing conscious discipline, it's been a joint effort with the education staff and the family engagement staff. And we've sorted out who introduces conscious discipline and what part of conscious discipline they introduce throughout the program year. So as I already shared, it starts with the family advocates at enrollment. Then at the initial home visit, the education staff bring in more conscious discipline. And then throughout the program year, we build in pieces with each family advocate home visit, with each education conference and home visit, and then at all of our parent meetings.
So you really have been doing what Head Start has just rolled out for almost 10 years.
Yes, in regard to conscious discipline implementation, yes, we have. So we're really excited that conscious discipline is moving forward with a formal parenting curriculum.
So that makes sense because some folks from Conscious Discipline's main office in Florida contacted the Office of Head Start in November and got a note back and said, no, you don't have to be on the compendium. You're good. They can pick your program. It's all good. And then I kept hearing, no, you have to be on the list. You have to be on the list. Mm-hmm. And so that was a resource, which was kind of distracting some folks, or they were feeling anxious about that. And then we reached out again in January just to double check, should we get ourselves put on that list? And they said, no need to be put on that list. It's a static document. It's just something that agencies can use if they don't know of a curriculum. But if they're been using conscious discipline in the classroom, which was the case with lots of the folks that I was chatting with. And so some folks out there that are watching this, Sue, have never heard of conscious discipline before. And so we would love to say to them, man, look us up for some classroom management, because we have some amazing things. And you guys use the EDECA as part of your assessment piece. Is that right? When conscious discipline?
That's correct. We've been using the Devereaux, and we do have the EDECA, the online version of the Devereaux, and we've been implementing it in coordination with conscious discipline for about as long as we've been implementing conscious discipline, so about 2007. And we did move to the EDECA version of the Devereaux so that we would be able to, it was a convenience piece initially, and then 2 years ago, it was 2 or 3 years ago, that EDECA included conscious discipline strategies, which was great because we can just pull those offline and they're already individualized for the child. So it just made our job easier at Western Egyptian since we were already providing parents with conscious discipline strategies. So it's a beautiful fit between the Devereaux and conscious discipline.
And really the name of the game, honestly, Sue, and Head Start is you have got to be smart about time, because you guys have so much paperwork and so little time, because really what you want your teachers and your CFAs or your family advocates to be doing is you want them to be with your families. You want them to be with kiddos. You don't want them to be spending a significant amount of time writing up reports or coming up with goals on their own. So this really kind of has helped so that they'll have goals that they can choose from, and the EDECA for them to use strategies right there. They don't have to, ponder and think about that strategy. Well, that sounds great. So what else do you think that agencies might need to know about what's going on with the parent piece? Anything else that you can think of that we need to share, Sue?
What I would share as encouragement is it's easy. It's a natural fit between the education component and the family engagement component. We at Western Egyptian include both the family engagement and the education staff in joint trainings. So whenever we are training on conscious discipline, they're hearing the same information and they're building the skills jointly, so that as far as supporting families and children, it's consistent and it's solid, and it builds in support for staff, for the family engagement staff to be able to coordinate with the education staff and to use each other as resources in supporting children and families. And that then not only affects child outcomes, but it affects family outcomes. And we use conscious discipline to produce family outcomes. So one of our family outcomes goals is actually reporting on conscious discipline use of the parents. And that's super easy. We just use the family advocate service notes, attendance at parent meetings, since conscious discipline is incorporated there, and then of course individual support that's provided for the families with conscious discipline strategies. It's a seamless fit. It only makes our Head Start program stronger to be implementing conscious discipline. And for staff, the shift in approach is a hopeful shift, because conscious discipline offers hope to families, to children, and to staff. So instead of being wrapped up in the what can be the draining part of the paperwork, conscious discipline offers hope and encouragement to the staff.
Wow, I can tell you this. For me, as a consultant who's going out and listening to folks, it is a huge relief to hear the encouragement from you and the guidance from you. So this is fabulous information. We are super excited. And Sue Dierks, Western Egyptian Head Start, thank you so much for sharing your expertise to piece together and organize all this information about the parent piece. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.